We shall have world government, whether or not we like it. The only question is whether world government will be achieved by conquest or consent.
The year is 1917, and Representative Oscar Callaway enters a disturbing statement into the U.S. Congressional Record. The statement reveals why J.P. Morgan interests hired 12 high-ranking news managers. The 12 were asked to determine the most influential newspapers in America. They were to figure out how many news organizations it would take to control generally the policy of the daily press of the United States. Soon, that policy would be defined by a front group formed by J.P. Morgan and his colleagues. In fact, Morgan's personal attorney was founding president of the organization, the Council on Foreign Relations.
The New World Order will be built, an end run on national sovereignty, eroding it piece by piece, will accomplish much more than the old-fashioned frontal assault. Council on Foreign Relations.
Today, the CFR maintains that its goal is to increase America's understanding of the world. However, the actual objective of this highly exclusive club is revealed by the rare admissions of the insiders themselves, and aim to create a world system of financial control in private hands, able to dominate the political system of each country and the economy of the world as a whole. In short, they seek total and quiet control of the entire world. And the CFR is their most visible conduit for carrying out that agenda.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founding.
Are we at one of those moments in history in which there is the necessity for a new world order? A, because of what's taken place in the Middle East, the rise of different kinds of groups, and B, what's happened in Asia, meaning that there has been a shift from the West to the East.
There's a need for a new world order.
And 200 years ago, a famous British Foreign Secretary said that the new world had been called into existence to redress the balance of the old. In 1990, another old world ended, dominated by the Cold War, and people talked then, in 1990, of a new world order. What they actually meant then was a new political order. And what was not foreseen then, but is obvious now from everything that we see and do, what we experience in every day of our life, is the sheer scale and speed and scope of globalization. And it's only now that we can begin to understand that the world order that globalization brings and what it's going to look like, it's driven forward now not just by the balance of military strength, the Cold War times, or ordinary political power. It's being driven forward by a seismic shift in economic power that we see around us. But what does the New World Order mean for countries like ours who are looking to succeed? I suggest that the countries that are going to succeed are those that combine flexibility, free trade, open markets, with proper stewardship of the environment and investment in education, infrastructure, and innovation. And the question for us is how we meet and master all these challenges to ensure that Britain enhances its competitiveness in the process and realizes what I believe is our destiny of success in this new world order. So, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, a new world is emerging. It is a new world order with significantly different and radically new challenges for the future.
You're the one guy who has had this right from the very beginning. I'm not saying that we're all going to, cats and dogs are going to be sleeping with each other, etc. What I'm saying is there's going to be a change coming. Rupert Murdoch said that nations will be redefined in this period. You know that people at the global level are looking at it and saying, okay, what's it going to look like? Where can we find out? Where do we start to look?
Well, you should look to the Congress, but they don't pay much attention either. And there will be a realignment, and there's a struggle going on with us who believe that we should have national sovereignty. We should be out of the UN, out of the World Bank, out of the IMF, and no world government. But that is the movement that we're going in. That is the direction that we're going in. But others are planning to go one step further. They weren't satisfied with Bretton Woods. They weren't satisfied with the dollar standard. Now they want to probably modify the special drawing rights of the IMF, which they tried and didn't fail. But they want to control capital, and they want to control the natural resources of the world. So, and they're not nationalistic at all. They believe in world government, and they're more out in the open now than they were 25 years ago.
In the financial crisis, Europe is leading the way towards a global solution. Et début septembre, le président des États-Unis et l'Europe ont donc proposé plusieurs sommets à partir de la mi-novembre qui porteront sur une nouvelle régulation, une nouvelle gouvernance mondiale. Today Europe can propose the principles and rules that will shape a new global order. Je veux dire ma conviction que la crise appelle à la réforme des institutions européennes. La crise appelle à ce que l'Europe puisse apporter une réponse aussi puissante et aussi rapide que tel autre ensemble mondial comme les États-Unis ont pu le faire face au drame qu'a représenté la crise financière. Kind of occasion where the crisis calls into question old certainties and minds are more open to change. These are very special moments. The goal should be to devise a system of global financial governance adapted to the challenges of the 21st century.
President Bush said that the New World Order was in tune, and that's what they were working for. The UN is part of that government. They're working right now very significantly for a North American Union. That's why there's a lot of people in Washington that don't care too much about our borders. They have a philosophical belief that national sovereignty is not important. It's also the reason I have made very strong suggestion that we need not be in the United Nations for our national.
It means open borders, commerce at all cost, and by the way, without the approval of either American voters or the U.S.
Propose new currency for the North American community, which is being developed right now between Canada, the U.S., and Mexico to make a borderless community much like the EU, and the dollar, Canadian dollar, U.S. dollar, and the Mexican peso replaced by the Amero.
The globalist founders of the UN learned that moving straight into their model of global government was tactically impossible. However, gradually phasing out national independence to regional government interdependence by using international treaties has since proven to be tactically sound.
The New World Order will be built. An end run on national sovereignty, eroding it piece by piece, will accomplish much more than the old-fashioned frontal assault. Council on Foreign Relations.
What do you think the most important thing is for Barack Obama? Obviously, you're here to talk about the anniversary for U.S.-China diplomatic relations, but if you had to say, this is going to be the country or the conflict or the place that will define the Obama administration, what would it be?
I think his task will be to develop an overall strategy for America in this period when really a new world order can be created. It's a great opportunity. It isn't just a crisis.
The U.S. presidential motorcade arrives at the United Nations, passing the ever-present groups of demonstrators assembled on the other side of the road. A sense of anticipation in the General Assembly chamber, and a warm reception for Barack Obama as he walks to the podium, his wife seated among the heads of state and dignitaries.
The time has come for the world to move in a new direction. We must embrace a new era of engagement based on mutual interest and mutual respect, and our work must begin now.
And the President outlined his vision of a new world order in which the U.S. would participate fully, one rooted on 4 basic principles.
Non-proliferation and disarmament, the promotion of peace and security, the preservation of our planet, and a global economy that advances opportunity for all people.
Earlier, the UN Secretary General had opened proceedings, sticking to his allotted time, calling for international unity.
If ever there were a time to act in a spirit of renewed multilateralism, a moment to create a United Nations of genuine collective action, it is now. Now is our time, a time to put the united back into the United Nations. United in purpose, united in action.
A renewal, importantly, in which the United States says it is willing to both lead and be part of. Mike Hanna, Al Jazeera, at the United Nations in New York.
The Security Council session focused on nuclear non-proliferation and disarmament. President Obama presided over the meeting, the first time a U.S. president has done so. He told the Council the United Nations has a pivotal role to play in preventing a nuclear crisis.
The historic resolution we just adopted enshrines our shared commitment to the goal of a world without nuclear weapons. And it brings Security Council agreement on a broad framework for action to reduce nuclear dangers as we work toward that goal.
The resolution aims to strengthen the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, to keep nuclear materials away from terrorists, and to ensure the development of nuclear technology for peaceful purposes.
This is a constant subject for our discussions, and we are discussing the questions of setting up a new set or emergence of a new set of reserve currencies, including possibility of emergence of ruble as such a currency, even if it's not reflected in our declarations, and the question of supranational currency. Incidentally, I can probably have good news to you. In my pocket there is a supranational coin, which was a gift given to me. And this is one unit of testing, probing unity and diversity it's referred to, and it's referred to as international currency, United Future World Currency. Here it is. You can already take a look at it and even touch it. What it tells us is, indeed, this is a probe, a gift, but people are thinking on it, and most probably one day we'll see something like that happening. You can use it, hold in your hand, and use it as a means of settlement. And this coin was given a special standard of the rules of its circulation. This is a symbol of our unity, our desire to jointly tackle such problems. Therefore, this is it, international currency.
We shall have world government, whether or not we like it. The only question is whether world government will be achieved by conquest or consent.